Hi, I'm Josh, one of the mentors on the course, and it's my turn to give a short summary of what we've been talking about this week. So, to start with, I'll just say that there are around 1,000 people who've started the course, and that they're representatives from all over the world, as you will have been able to see if you look at the map that's linked to on step 1.2. So I recommend that you do look at that. Isn't it wonderful to have such a global community to share our thoughts about teaching and learning languages with? We, the mentors, that is, are doing our best to read and engage with as many of your wonderful comments as possible, but obviously it's not possible for us to read them all. There are now more than 200 comments on some steps, and new people are still joining all the time. So please do help us, and remember to go back to the first steps from time to time, and to welcome the new people into our course and into our learning community. I hope you're enjoying interacting with that community as much as I am. Anyway, I'm going to mention a few of your conversations that I've come across this week and found interesting, but I'll definitely miss others of value, and I apologize for that. And if you have had valuable conversations that I fail to mention, it'd be really wonderful if you could mention those yourselves and link to them in the comments under this video. Thank you. So this week we started by saying hello and introducing ourselves. And I think that, in fact, that is a very important part of language teaching. We try as teachers to create a welcoming, friendly environment in which participants feel able to contribute and to express themselves freely in all their diversity, and to try out their ideas in conversation and or the new language that they are in the process of acquiring. And I've linked to some resources that I think are really good for helping teachers create safe speaking environments in various of the comments in this week. And I'd like to invite you and thank you all for helping us to create what feels to me to be like a very productive conversational space on this course, albeit safe written and writing environment rather than speaking environment. So anyway, here are a few of the conversations that I'm particularly enjoying, and which I would recommend having a look at if you can find the time. And there'll be links to these conversations or comments underneath this video on the course page. So on the getting to know you step, Gafudu, I'm really sorry about my pronunciation of your name. I should have looked it up on Foro or something. And Joe started a conversation about learning from and with friends and how that relates to the kind of atmosphere that we hope to create on this course. Another conversation I find fascinating was started by Mariam, who asked about what it means to be bilingual. And I'm really interested in all your contributions there, particularly from those who are in fact bilingual or multilingual. And especially as my own children are growing up in multilingual way, and that's very different to my own experience, which is far more similar to Kim's experience described in a conversation that I linked to as well, of coming to understand what a foreign language is after growing up in a monolingual environment. The insights there are very familiar to me, and I would love it if more of us can share our experiences of how we discovered what a foreign language was, or what language is, as we learned it. And so to turn to the question of meaning and what it is, I was very relieved to find that so many of you find it as difficult a question as I do. Personally, I find Andres's comment useful, as that to me suggests a somewhat more dynamic understanding of what meaning is, as meaning constructed through interaction with others rather than something fixed. So I'd recommend looking to that. And also looking at the conversations about implied meaning. I liked Valentina's comment about how to suggest someone else should do the washing up without actually saying, could you do the washing up, please? And I wondered whether others could provide more similar examples of hidden requests, as you might call them. And also Leanne, I hope I got that one right in terms of pronunciation, reminded me of the fun to be had with playing with the meaning of sentences by changing which word you stress in the sentence, and how this can be a very useful awareness-raising activity for learners. So if that sounds interesting to you, look at that comment. As usual, the bottleneck description of the process of learning a foreign language caused plenty of conversation. I found Rudy's comment really helpful there about prioritizing what to teach, and the other pressures that teachers feel, other than the pedagogic ones, about how to teach and what to teach, which sometimes come from pressure to complete a curriculum or finish a course book. I'd also recommend the conversation started by Elisabetta that highlights the importance of empathy in teaching, and also discusses the issue of language interference from first languages when learning an additional language. As for the discussion about the factors influencing language learning, personally, I very much agree with, I think, conversations started by Eric and Scott that emphasize the benefits of using varied modes of interaction in instruction and different kinds of tasks, reading, writing, visual, kinesthetic, etc., rather than worrying about trying to match individual students' learning styles, if indeed these exist. And with respect to identifying the most important factor in language learning, motivation was a very clear winner again on our poll, with nearly 80% of the votes, with effective teaching a distant second, with only 9% of the votes. However, several of you discussed the very close interaction there often is between effective teaching and learner motivation. So finally, in the reflective step, or the reflection step, I'm really looking forward to reading what you've all got to say about what you've got out of the course so far. But I'd like to highlight one comment that's already there, which is from Anna D. And she mentions the idea of flow. And I intend to link to some work by Zoltan Donye on directed motivational currents, which I think are very related to this idea of flow. And also can be related for teachers to the idea of how we set up tasks and projects and meaningful language learning activities. And I think that is definitely something we will be discussing next week a lot, because next week we'll be looking at communities of practice, task-based language learning, and content and language integrated learning, or CLIL as it's often known. And for me, the key to those approaches is in making language personally meaningful to our learners and helping them to learn through using the target language, the language they want to learn, in order to do something that is something that they want to do with that language. So bye for now, and I wish you all a peaceful weekend, and look forward very much to your conversations, or our conversations, next week. Thank you.